Hello everybody, my name is Johnny Siggs and I'm here with a Hive Gaming Hero Spotlight on Omniknight. Everybody, you can call me the Giant Siggs if you like, or Suit if you're feeling lazy, or Suit if you're feeling extra lazy. I'm super far off camera for some reason right now, but tough cookies. So yeah, Omniknight. He is a really unique strength-based support-pushing killing hero, able to fill all three roles quite well. He is one of the few heroes that, if played properly, can not only save your teammates, but do super well 1v1 and even get away with 5v1 scenarios. Again, the stress here is if you played him properly. Bad Omniknights can be terrible. His versatility also extends to his items and skill builds, so this guy will be quite a bit longer than the usual ones. Omniknight's Q is Purification. We're going to see this come up in about 10 seconds, give or take. This is a single target healing ability that can also be cast on Omniknight himself. So he can either cast it on an allied hero, an allied creep, or himself. As well as healing, it does damage to all enemy units in a 300 AoE of the target that received the heal. This is a great skill. We're going to see it right now. There it is, doing a chunk of damage and healing up Omniknight. This is a great skill to keep you and your ally in lane for a super long time, giving heals out and doing damage to the enemy heroes. This is going to keep you and your ally in lane a lot longer. If used correctly, it can even force enemy heroes out of lane because you're dealing so much damage to them. And it can also be helpful when you're farming. It's a crazy farming skill when you utilize the damage on neutral and enemy creeps. Omniknight's W is Repel. This is a single target ability. Again, we can see it here activating as Lich's ult bounces to me and takes no damage. What does it do? That clip was a little bit sooner than I anticipated, but Repel will block most magic effects from affecting the targeted ally or Omniknight. This includes allied abilities such as Purification, though, so be careful when you use it. In any given situation, you may need to be healing the ally that you just repelled, and they can't receive that heal now. Omniknight's E is a 400 AoE effect that will reduce the movement speed of nearby enemies. This is a passive ability. You don't have to put any points into it. It just happens. This is great for chasing down heroes, as we see in this clip. You're able to really chase down heroes, you're slowing them down, and then if this battle for some reason turned around against our favor, you stay in the back, you hang back, you're going to be slowing the enemy as they're charging you, so it's great for escaping ganks and other sticky situations. I actually have a great clip of that coming up right now. Okay, and here's the clip of getting away from a sticky situation using Repel, using your heal smartly and correctly. I'm super far out, overextended. There's a lot of missing. I don't know where everybody is, so this is a bad play by me. But I do get caught by Chen here, and then Anti-Mage and Lich decide to show up. I throw up Repel on myself, and then I use a Town Portal Scroll to get out of there, preventing any magic damage from being taken. Omniknight's R, or ultimate ability, is Guardian Angel. Guardian Angel grants all nearby friendly units 1,000 bonus armor and an extra 25 HP per second. This is just an amazing skill for starting team fights, or like in this clip, we were definitely not in a favorable position. You pop this ultimate, and just unbelievably quickly you can turn around the tides of combat. All around, it's great utility and usability on this skill, and if you're able to use it correctly, it can definitely turn the tides of combat in your favor dramatically. Alright, let's take a minute now to talk about skill order. There's a couple of different ways you can build them, and then we're going to talk about something right afterwards, because as I said in the beginning of the game, this video, Omniknight is a really interesting hero in that you can build him a ton of different ways. The very standard opener is you're going to take 1 point in Purification at level 1. Level 2, you're going to take a point into Repel. At 3, Purification. At 4, Degen Aurora. At 5, Purification, 6, Guardian Angel, 7, Purification, 8, Repel, 9, Repel, 10, Repel, 11, Guardian Angel, 12, 13, 14, Degen Aurora, 15, put a point into stats, and 16, Guardian Angel, and 17, you're going to max out the rest of your stats. The other build order that you can do is take a point into Repel at level 1. If your lane comp is more magic based, they may have a stun that they're going to be using on you that does damage, like Sven, Skeleton King, somebody like that. You're going to want to take a point into Repel first, then get immediately a point into Purification, followed by another point into Purification, Degen Aurora, Purification, Guardian Angel, Purification. Then you're going to max Degen Aurora first. This is a very more aggressive build. You're going to be chasing down enemy heroes with this build. At 11, you're going to put a point into Guardian Angel. 12, 13, Repel. 14 and 15 are stats. 16, Guardian Angel, and 17 plus are more stats. Now, if you notice, those are very similar build orders, and you just swap a couple of places. And really, any way you feel comfortable building Omniknight, you can kind of get away with in a skill build, as long as you get at least 1 point in Purification and 1 point in Repel. Both the Degen Aurora and Repel, and even to some extent Purification, can all be interchangeable skills depending on what you need in your lane or against the enemy team in general. So you got to keep that in mind, that regardless of builds that you might see on the internet or even on this video, it's going to be personal preference what it's going to boil down to and what your team needs as well. Okay, so what items should you be building? As I stated before several times, Omniknight can be built so many different ways that it would take way too much time to talk about all the different items that it can get. So basically what I'm going to do is go over the core items that you can pick up on just a couple of the more common builds that you might see on Omniknight. So in the early game, you should look to be picking up the Courier if somebody hasn't already picked him up. Then you're going to want to pick up a Ring of Regen and a Sage Mask. Either way works, really. Tangos and Clarity, just to give you some more survivability. Grab Boots as soon as you can get the gold, and that's basically going to be your very beginner-oriented build. Your core items, once you get enough gold, is going to be, you're going to need to pick up a Soul Ring. This is an absolutely core item for Omniknight. You're going to need the Soul Ring. Once you get your Soul Ring, you're going to want to pick up Arcane Boots. Increasing your mana pool or giving you extra amounts of mana is key on Omniknight, since he is so very mana hungry. Magic Wand can also help if you're into that. I'm really not sure I'm sold on Magic Wand yet, but it is a very strong item. It's good on certain heroes, and I think Omniknight can definitely get away with it. Power Treads can also be picked up if you feel like your mana isn't being the issue and it's your survivability is very low. And if you feel like you want to be pushing lanes, you can also pick up Boots of Travel. This is a commonly accepted item. Although I personally dislike the pushing aspect of Omniknight. Necromonicon is also a neat item to pick up if you're going to be focusing on pushing. And then just fulfilling your support role. If nobody's already getting one, grab a Mechanism, grab Pipe of Insight, Drums of Endurance, Urn of Shadow, Ring of Bacillus, any of those items really. Warding is also very, very important on Omniknight. If someone on your team isn't already doing it, Omniknight should be doing it. You should always be carrying around stacks of wards, throwing them down at rune spawns, throwing them down in your forest and your opponent's forest, and keeping around some sentry wards in case they have invisibles on their team. Into late game and luxury-based items, Scythe of Ice is a very good pickup. It helps you deal with mana restraints, gives you a little bit of survivability, a little bit more punching power, and it helps you deal with that enemy carry using Hex. Eul's Scepter is also basically along the same thought process there. It gives you some survivability, gives you a little bit of punching power, mana regeneration, and lets you deal with an enemy carry. Dagger can be used for escaping enemy ganks or catching up with your team if they're starting into a team fight and you need to jump in with your ultimate. A long range blink ultimate is actually just knock you down on your butt, devastating to the enemy team. Shiva's Guard is an expensive item that you can pick up if you want and if you're getting farmed and kills. not necessarily a key item on Omniknight, but it's something that you can pick up. Again, if nobody else has bought it yet, a Vlad's at this point can become very helpful to the team, and Omniknight is a great hero to pick up Vladimir's offering on. And if you're getting really super farmed up, you can grab a refresher orb and spam your ultimate and your heal, which is absolutely devastating to the other team. And if you need to, this is a rare case, but Omniknight can get into God mode. And you can pick up a Sengeyasha and a Radiance or a Divine Rapier if you're just not dying at all. And you can actually go into God mode. And what is God mode? God mode is you are just carrying your team as Omniknight, and it's absolutely ridiculous. And the last thing that I'm going to have to talk about, and I actually have it in bold on my notes here, is absolutely 120% need to carry around at least 2 scrolls on you at all times. This will save your life, help you push lanes, and help you get to protect your team on time and in the right spot. Scrolls are absolutely key on Omniknight. If you're not taking scrolls, you're doing something wrong. Always have two in your inventory, 1 to get you to lane, 1 to get you out of a sticky situation. So what should you be doing and when? Really, there's only 2 jobs that I see Omniknight should ever have to worry about when you're playing him. God mode can be done, and honestly there are better heroes out there that fulfill the carry role. Omniknight is okay at it and has a lot of sustainability and toughness, but really you want to have somebody like Huskar or Viper, somebody who's actually a carry and can help you get into late game doing that job. So really, God mode, don't think about it too much. So your focus really should be on babysitting your carry, making sure that they get last hits and trying to deny the enemy as much as possible. Go ahead and put yourself in between the enemy creeps and the enemy hero. This will give them a little bit of a tension issue. They're going to be a little bit worried about you because your heal does do a ton of damage, and this will help them, or help your carry not have to compete for farm against the other team. And with your heal and magic immunity, there's very little negative effect for you putting yourself in harm's way like that, because you'll be able to put spell immunity on yourself. You're going to be able to heal yourself. You're going to be okay. In the late game, if you're focusing on the supporting role, you need to focus on being in team fights as much as possible and keeping everybody alive. You use your magic immunity correctly, and you can get great team fights started. Use your ult. Get great team fights started. Get great team fights ended by using your ult when everybody's super low and your team just needs that little bit of a boost to get through it. The key point is to keep everybody safe as much as possible. Will you be able to save everybody? No, and nobody can really expect that from you, but you can get pretty close on Omniknight. If you're going to choose on focusing on the pushing aspect that Omniknight can perform, you're going to want to pick up Boots of Travels, a Necromonicon, and a Vladimir's as soon as you can. Then you're just going to use Purification to clean out waves of creeps and push lanes and towers down. The downside to this strategy is that one of the best supports in the game, in my opinion, is now not supporting the team. They are rather pushing a lane out. Boots of Travel will help you with this a bit, but really, I'm a traditionalist. Support should support, carry should carry, ganker should gank, pushers should push, and everything else should just do their job respectively. Omniknight is a really interesting character because it can be argued that he does all of these things well, not amazingly, but well enough that he could get pigeonholed into any number of roles. The important thing to remember is wards and town portal scrolls. No matter what role you're performing, pushing, supporting, farming, carrying, you should always be warding and always have at least 2 portal scrolls on you at all time to avoid ganks and get into the lanes in time. So what are some of the strengths and weaknesses of Omniknight? The strengths of Omniknight are quite clear. He's an amazing support hero, has decent damage output, and can push lanes pretty hard. Another strength is his ability to pick up most roles and run with it. I've been talking about this the entire video. But what I mean is that in a game, you might realize that you don't need a pusher. You are now a support simply by changing your build. Not very many heroes can even say that, let alone do it. The same goes for if you don't need a support, you can now become a pusher just by flipping up your gear. However, major weaknesses is his mana hunger. Omniknight is incredibly mana hungry even into late game. And depending on how you build him, you might even get starred in the late game. So keep it in mind, you're really mana dependent. Most of his other weaknesses are going to be completely based on player skill though. Putting on a repel on somebody at the wrong time can get them killed. And likewise, holding off on a heal until the wrong time might also get your teammates killed. And poorly placed ultimates might put your teammates in that awkward position where they want to go into the team fight because your ultimate's on them, but realistically, it might be a bad decision. So, really, weaknesses are going to be completely player-based, I believe. And as always, at the end of the video here, we're going to talk about the hero difficulty score, and I give Omniknight a 7 out of 10. Once you've played more than a few games with him, and you've become familiar with his timing and abilities, you should be able to pick him up and run with him. He's an absolutely amazing hero, quick to play, but hard to master, can fill a bunch of different roles, can do a bunch of different stuff, can be completely obnoxious for the other team and life-saving for your own team. So I definitely suggest picking up Omniknight, playing a couple of games with him, seeing if you like him, and then sinking into the role completely of playing Omniknight. We'll talk about that in the next video that I do on YouTube, but that's another point. So big shout outs to Hive Gaming. You can see their logo in the bottom left and the top right, and in the description box below. They're awesome. They gave me this awesome overlay as well as my new super sweet background right here. They are full of awesomeness. Go check them out. It is hivegaming.org. There'll be a link in the description box. And for all of these hero spotlights, they will be coming out a week ahead of time. So every Tuesday, every Thursday, they'll be a week ahead of time on their website, as well as all the written documents and guides that I have for these heroes will be on their website. So if you want to get them a week ahead of time and you want to read all of the text that goes into making these videos, as well as some recommendations on how to play the heroes, and the reviews are a lot more in-depth in the text form, I'll put it that way. Go over to their website, sign up for their forums, sign up on their website. I can't say enough about them. They're great, and hopefully they're going to be a powerhouse in the esports community. They have everything from StarCraft to Diablo to Dota. Can't recommend them enough. They're awesome. And until next time, guys, I am Johnny Siggs. You can call me the Suit if you like, because I'm always wearing a suit. And yeah, my live stream is tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Twitch TV-Johnny Siggs casting, I think. Link in the description box just to make sure. So I hope you guys enjoyed this quick intro into Omniknight. By no means is this a professional level go win every game with Omniknight. This is much more of a brief overview of how to play Omniknight and get really good with him. Because really what it comes down to is practice, practice, practice. So until the next video, guys, take it easy, and I'll see you guys in game.